Hey Internet, it's Andrew with Nights of the Drunk Watch, and we're here to discuss the season finale of The Haunting of Bly Manor. Alright, so we are Nights of the Drunk Watch, and now our
And
talk
now our
begins.
talk begins.
Is that in this last episode, we got, like, for the first half, we got an ending to the story, like an ending to the ghost story. And then for the second half, we got, I don't know, I felt like there should have been a bigger payoff. Like it was just like, oh, and then happy and happy. And then there should have been no, she just kind of, we see her reflection 3 times and then she's like, never mind. Like,
She's trying to call Beetlejuice.
I started to watch this show because I wanted to be scared. It's October. But what I got was a great story. I thought when they're talking about, oh, we're going to America, I was like, yes, where Hill House is. You're going to drag this from across the pond and plant it, firmly on American soil.
I know they don't want it to be, was wanting to compare it to the first season to compare it to The Haunting of Hill House. When you take the same actors and then make them do another season that, again, it's a limited series, you cannot help but compare the two. And with Hill House, with it being so much, that shock value, it was a great combination of story and shock value combined.
if you are going to be, like you said, if you're going to be the same, I'm just assuming it was the same producers and like
It is Mike Flanagan.
Yeah, it's like the same producers and writers.
Same production whole thing with the same actors with the same name, like it's The Haunting of Hill House, The Haunting of Bly Manor.
Right.
There's no other, like, they're not making it not expecting us to compare it, and if they are, they're idiots. In the first season, they got us all hooked because everyone goes into, I feel like you go into new horror things or scary things with the expectation to, I hope this is good, I'll probably be disappointed. Like, but with this first season, we went in hoping, oh, I hope it's good, I'll probably be disappointed. And it kind of like exceeded expectations of, oh shit, this was good. So that allowed them to bring it in and bring people back to do, because if they had started with Bly Manor, no one would fucking care at all. But they started with Hill House, which allowed them to do Bly Manor. And now people know that we can have scary and we can have story, and maybe we'll get like a hyped up scary one next time.
We shouldn't overstress the reference of calling it season 2. I mean, the fact that, like it's been said, this is an anthology series. Maybe they didn't set out to do an anthology series. They did The Haunting of Hill House. It was a huge success, so they came up with a new concept for season 2. I think one thing where this succeeds, where American Horror Story doesn't, other than not having Ryan Murphy, is that it's like you said, Thomas, you thought, oh, they're going to America where Hill House is. They never made any attempt to put them in the same universe.
Yeah.
It was just its own thing. While they kind of maintained a lot of elements, they wove all the Henry James stories together so they could have the multiple ghost element, which comes from Hill House, because that's what everyone talked about at the end. All the ghosts were in the background, all the ghosts were there, and all the ghosts were there. So, but they didn't. I think by doing what they did and making more of a ghost story and not a horror thriller, is they probably, even if you're a little disappointed with the lack of scares and jump scares and whatnot, second seasons always tend to fall off anyway. It's very hard to have a second season be better than the first. My only problem with this episode is I did feel like, it brought us to the climax and then we had this long denouement. I think it was too long.
Yeah.
I think they could have shortened the end and lengthened the climax just a little bit, Or they could have
Like
had
kind of why
something.
everyone kept saying, "Wait, we still have a whole nother half of the episode to go. Why are they wrapping this
Yeah.
up now?"
Or they could have had
One last
bigger
gotcha moment.
finish, one last big moment before they revealed
Yeah.
Carla Gugino as Jamie and everyone as who they were. So
I feel like this series could have benefited from more horror in spite of like how good the story was, which we all can agree on. Nobody's shitting on the actual story. I think the story
Yeah.
could have actually been made better by more horror. Like if we would have felt, because the events that are happening are of equal emotional gravity as in the first season, The Haunting of Hill House, whatever we're calling it. Like the emotional weight is still there. And if it benefited from the horror in the first season, why wouldn't it benefit? Like just because you want to have that one line of this isn't a ghost story, it's a love story. And I feel like that's the premise they sold in the production meeting. They didn't do enough different. If you're going to try to shift the focus to a real story, then move away from the same type of ghosts, move away from the same type of haunted house ideology. If you're going to put us in the same environment with the same kind of like things coming at you, then you need to up the terror or we're not going to care.
if you do everything you said they should have done, if they weren't going to give us the horror, then it wouldn't be part of, it wouldn't be the Haunting Collection. It would be the love story of Bly Manor, and that would be something completely different.
My interest in this was because everybody kept saying the hype of, Haunting of, or the Hill House or whatever. So, I mean,
We thought
I
it
was looking for a sequel. Now, we talked about it. I was expecting horror. I really was. I was expecting jump out of your seats, scream, "Oh my gosh, that just happened." And
That's what
I
we
want
were
to
all
say
expecting.
I want to say the ending for me, though it was all right, it it eventually just became, it wasn't a horror, it was a story. And then instead of getting the horror that I was expecting, I got the ending of Touched by an Angel. I wanted more, but at the same time, I'm not upset with the story that was given us.
Going back to like the shared universe, they didn't shove it in our faces, and they haven't established that it is a shared universe, except we have brought up like just little things that like ghosts are your own person. We've gotten some of the personal haunting that we saw in season 1 and season 2. We got like 2 types of ghosts, like I said. So that, I mean, I think hopefully we'll get some of the same like just kind of establishment of the rules. I hope that what this show does is establish it so that it can continue and we get more good like scary ghost stories. I just feel like, I mean, again, I know I read it and I feel like it gave me the same type of vibe as other stories like that, but that weren't specifically supernatural, like Jane Eyre or Wuthering Heights, where they just had like a heightened level of normalcy the whole time. But it was just a very like dramatic, and it kind of felt the same way, like there was a bigger reveal at the end, but I think it was on that same vein throughout most of it. If it was, I'm in a big scary house and there's something going on, but I don't know what it is until the end reveal.
I think the thing that might have made it cleaner in terms of what I said before too, considering that the house was supposedly released from its curse, I almost feel like they could have leaned more into that. Again, the climax would have come later in the episode, and then somehow cut into losing Dani faster.
You didn't want a whole like Beauty and the Beast scene where it all just like becomes shiny.
Well, I mean,
All right.
we released her from the curse in the first 10 minutes, and then it all became about Dani holding on to be in a relationship with Jamie, but then she just kind of disappeared on her.
Dani.
This happily ever after with Jamie and Dani, like it's all a dream. Somebody got tucked away. Again, I feel like they combined so many things together using the other works of Henry James that when they had to write something for themselves, which was that denouement, that ending, they fell short. Like they set themselves up for a lot of things that they never did. And I don't know if that was because they wanted to honor Henry James's work more, but I mean, it just felt like it just felt like they missed an opportunity to like, do one last scare, do one
Yeah.
last thing,
Yeah.
do one last turn.
It was Wile E. Coyote running off the cliff.
They still failed in doing their own ending because there is absolutely no reason that they shouldn't have shown us Dani walking into that lake and the struggle that that would have entailed. That is the scene that we needed in this version of the ending, is the struggle between the Dani half and the lady in the lake half struggling to get into that lake, and her holding her down at the bottom of that lake from ever killing anybody else again.
Well
Like,
said.
it was Dani's goodness.
They built
It was
out
Dani's
everything
goodness that kept them there.
The timing of this last episode, I think we could have gotten more of the final like chaos in Bly Manor, and then we could have gotten less of lesbian florists, and we could have gotten more of Dani's death. Like, I think that the just timing of this last episode, like, we knew it instantly. We're like, all right, now we're out of the woods, but we have way too much time left for them to do this well.
I was happy with the story, and then it just kind of it just left me wanting a little bit more something.
You will absolutely love Haunting of Hill House.
Yeah.
Absolutely love it.
We're done.
All right, so we are the Knights of the Drunk Watch.
And
now our talk
has
ended.
Has
Our-
ended.
Our walk and talk.